Hey, welcome to Deer Talk Now. I'm Brad Rooks. Today we got a special guest, the bear whisperer himself, Blaine Anthony. And that's what I want to talk about. I know we're whitetail, but I want to talk a little bit about bears. Because Blaine, I know you got tons of experience, and I'm going to tell this firsthand. I'm one of those guys that watched it on, guys like you on TV, and I was like, that would be boring. What kind of fun is that? And about 4 or 5 years ago, I went on my first bear hunt. Dude, I was hooked. Like, it is so fun just
Yeah,
to sit there and watch them, right?
right. That's it. That's probably the big. That's what got me into it. Wasn't even the let's say the harvesting of them, but just like the first time you see one, you realize everything, how much they think. Right,
Yeah.
everything's a choice with them. They don't run just off of instinct. They think things out like a dog
It,
or like a human. I like to say.
and the older they are, the smarter they are, correct?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I hunted one in New Brunswick we thought was a booner this year. And it's like they're getting close. He's getting closer and closer to making a mistake. And then, the second I walk in there, boom, 2 a.m. for
Really?
another month. Oh, yeah. They're just intolerant, smart, and really hard to hunt.
Now, do you think that's because he smelled you that he went totally nocturnal like that, or did he just sense something was wrong?
I think probably smelled me for sure. But I've always joked about bear juju, I call it, that people that bear hunt you find in camp and stuff. There's only there's like people that struggle and people that get them all the time. And you could reverse baits if you're sitting on bait or whatever the situation is. But I do, and when I talk about it on TV or YouTube or wherever, um, I feel they do sense. Like if you're up there wound up and just losing it because a bear's coming, those guys never see bears. And then the guys that are the calmer they are, the more you'll actually see bears. And it's that energy. And I wish I had something to show you, but I've had doctors and scientists send me messages and go, "You're right. Like,
Yeah,
scientifically, you're correct.
yeah.
That you don't think they can sense it, they can sense it."
I've seen that in the whitetail world as well, and it's kind of funny. I'm not going to throw out a name because I don't want to make fun of him, but there's a guy out there that has been in the whitetail, industry, but archery industry forever, right? And
Yeah.
hunted in some of the best places around the world, and for whitetails, and literally he hadn't shot a Pope and Young deer in like 15 years. I'm like, how can this be? But when you hear his stories, every one of them, like literally, like when he's drawn or whatever, they sense something was wrong and either bolted out of there. And then there's company, you probably know it, when Hex came out, right? That
Yeah.
used that
Yeah.
microwave technology, right? So it's supposed to block that. When they first came out, they had a booth that literally, you could put your hand on it. It's determined how much electricity you had going through your body. And he said flat out, if you're excited, it's going to be a lot more. I put my hand in there, it barely bleeped. And this guy that I know in the industry walks by, I was like, get in here, put your hand underneath it. And when he put it in there, it was like he was nuclear. Like, dude, it just went off the charts. And when they're telling me that when he's more excited, it's either going to be worse, I was like, well, right there's why you've never shot a Pope and Young. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
probably that same in bears, right?
Yeah, yeah, it definitely could be. I mean, just a real quick story. I'll say his name because he'll back me up. His name's John Rackley. He's technically a quadriplegic guy, but he went to New Brunswick with me for 5 years and had never even seen a bear. And I'm going, John, this is impossible, buddy. And I'd always roll him out to his stand. We'd set a stand up, and I'd take the ground blind and put it on top of him in his wheelchair, and he would sit there. So on the sixth year, I said, I'm giving up my hunt. I'm going to sit with you. And you're doing something wrong. And he's like, fine. I'm not moving, Blaine. He'd make jokes and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Okay. So I sat him in the blind. I made a little brush blind right beside the blind, and I'm not kidding you. He sat there. He had obviously a rest, and
Yep.
he was just going. I could hear him breathing. I'm like going. I go, John, calm down. And he'd go, no, man, you. I watch your shows. You got to be quiet. You can't. And I'm like, yeah, but you got to calm down. It's not that serious, man.
Yeah.
And he's like, and so he just wouldn't. So I walked around the blind, make a story, make a long story short. I'm looking at him and he goes, "What are you doing?" Because I walked all the way around. I'm sitting in front of him. It's probably 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And I go, "Do you hear that?" It's a sound. And he's like, "Are you peeing on my blind?" And I go, "I sure am, John." Hunt's over. He's like, "Hunt is over. Why would you do this to me? I've been hunting 10 years for bear. I've never seen one, blah, blah, blah." I'll go, "John." And so I walk back around and sitting down, and he's turned around sideways looking at me, and he's going, "Why would you do that? I don't understand. I've watched all your videos. That goes against everything you say." I go, "John." He goes, "What?" I go, "Bear." And there was a bear down there eating out of the bait.
No way.
So it was just, yeah, calming him down. Yeah, he tell anytime he's in bear camp now, he's like, when Blaine says it's true, it's true. Because at that moment, I knew for sure there was zero chance. I was calm. I wasn't thinking about bears, and yeah, that was the first time he ever shot a bear that night.
You know, I know research has shown, like, they're so smart, where a predator normally, when they jump a doe that has a fawn, right?
Yeah.
They chase the doe. Bears, no. Bear just is like, "Oh my God, no, I'm going to stay here and find that fawn. I'm going to have," because they know they're just that smart. And as a whitetail guy, I mean, you want to manage your bears, correct?
Oh, for sure. For sure, for sure. That's what we were talking before the podcast started. Whitetails. We still all love whitetails. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So what kind of tips do you got for the new bear hunter? Say if I've never went before, what kind of area am I looking for? Where should I set up a bait? Or give me some advice.
Well, I think the biggest one is two, which all kind of connect, is like, when I watch you professional whitetail hunters, because I'm certainly not one, but watch you guys and I listen. I think the truest thing I ever hear you guys say is, if you want to shoot a good buck or you want to shoot a good deer, step one, make sure there's a good deer there.
True.
Right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
bears are the same way. I think people go into a bear hunt, and let's face it, 90% of it is overbait, right?
Yep.
So someone's got donuts or granola sit down there or something, and they just assume it's going to be easy. You need to understand that it's not going to be easy. It's funny. I always tell new hunters, if you shoot a bear, before you shoot him, you can mark my words, he's going to look you right in the eyes and look into your soul before you fire. So you rarely ever trick a bear, right? He knows you're there. He's literally looking at you. So it's not as easy as people think. When the bear shows up, that's when the hunt begins, right? You have to hunt. But the biggest thing is the bear needs to be there. There needs to be daytime pictures of bears, multiple bears. It's almost the only way you can get them coming in. Let's say anything over 2 years old, get them coming in during daylight hours. They got to beat the next bear to the bait, beat the next bear to the bait. But just picking the right outfitter. And when he shows you photos, they're daytime photos, right? They're at 6, 7, 8 o'clock when they're still shooting light. I just had a guy in camp this year. It's, I've been 9 years and I've never seen a bear. And it's like, that shouldn't be possible.
Yeah.
Just so you know, like that. Everybody comes bear hunting with me up in New Brunswick. I go, we've just never had anybody not see bears.
Yeah.
Multiple bears, right? I go all the time and not shoot one. It's because I'm, spoiled, and I'm not going to shoot a 200-pound bear.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to wait for a big one. Making sure they're bears there and picking the right outfitter, making sure, really check references.
Makes it
really check references, because not the one thing that, unlike whitetail, is that most people can't go in their backyard like me. I can literally go out back here and find a bear.
Yeah.
Most people in the country cannot.
Yeah, we barely. Even here in Wisconsin, I'm in central Wisconsin, right? And you think Wisconsin, oh yeah, they got a lot of bears. Not where I am. So where we are, if you see a bear, you're like, oh my God, that thing's huge. And honestly, it's probably a 150-pound little male. You know what I mean? Just looking for a new territory. You brought up something about a big bear. How does a hunter judge, the size of a bear? Because it's hard, right? I mean, when you don't know what a big bear looks like, they all look big when they come within 20 yards of you.
Nothing harder than judging a bear. And I think anybody, I was just watching Ralph talk about it. And if any guys out there hating on someone that shot a 125-pound bear, you haven't hunted enough bears yet because you're going to shoot one.
Yeah.
I promise you're going to shoot one. They are insanely hard to judge, and I kind of bucked the system on the whole ears thing. And the bears are so much like humans that some bears have big ears, right? And there's a infamous episode where I was hunting with a 13-year-old girl in a junkyard where a tractor trailer full of frosting got brought into it, and they had police tape around it and all this other stuff. They wouldn't let people in the junkyard anymore because the bears had overtook it. And we're in the back of an 18-wheeler, and Americans, this is in Canada, so Americans couldn't hunt there in that part of Canada. So I was there with the guide's daughter. But this bear came up and tried to climb in the trailer with us, long story short. But when he sticks his head over, you think this thing was a rabbit.
Really?
Its ears were, you think it was a rabbit. He had a foot up and he was climbing into the trailer, and I turned around and looked at Marty. She was the girl hunting, and she was at full draw. And I said, Marty, shoot the bear. And she hit the bear right there. We ended up finding it. It was 425 pounds.
No way.
So you can't, that ear thing and that. My biggest thing, and this is just watching television and watching, there's a million YouTube videos out there. That real crease in the head, there's no way to fake that. That's 2 bulges of muscle up there. But even for me today, it's that swag.
Yeah.
Right? Big bears just do that. They don't ever come in, happy and right. They're slow and they
methodical.
Got this waddle to them. And right. So that's the biggest thing, because I don't think there's anything verbally I could tell anybody at home that would educate them on the difference, the rear end, the front end, the nose, I even hate when someone says, a female has a long snout and the bears have a short snout. And it's funny when you still put a tape measure to it, it's not true.
Pretty much the same.
Right? They have about the same snout. It's just the male's head looks
so much wider,
shorter.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. Everything's wider. So it's I would say that swag and that crease but that crease, you're usually getting into big bears, right? So stuff where if you want to go home with a bear, you might not want to wait for that all week, especially on the East Coast.
Yeah, and when it's a big bear, like the one I shot, my first one was a booner, right? I got lucky. I'm not going to.
Wow.
So he's over 20 inches, but I'll never forget. I was sitting there, and you're seeing bear after bear, and I'm like, God, I just wish a big one would come. And when I saw him, I was like, man, that thing looks huge. And when he turned, I was like, oh, my God, that's a monster. So I knew right away. It wasn't like when he walked by the barrel that I had to say, oh, is he as tall as the barrel? Or, you know what I mean? Like, there was no doubt in my mind is like, that is a shooter. So
actually, that's probably the best point. If you're staring at a bear down by a bait, walking out back, whatever, and you're going, geez, I don't know, like that might be a monster. Guaranteed not a monster.
Yeah, exactly.
Guaranteed
if you're thinking.
Not a monster. I used to talk to my guide in Alaska all the time, not necessarily about bait. We don't use bait out there, but a bear at, let's say, 500 yards, you got binoculars on a beach. An 80-pound bear and a 450-pound bear have identical statures.
Really?
Right? With nothing to judge that bear.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the 80-pound bear, it's got this big fluffy head. Its ears look so tiny right there.
Yeah, because the fur is so long, right? Yeah.
Exactly. 400-pound bear looks exactly the same. Little teeny ears, and you're going, oh, well, they sit out there, and you'd swear that it was a giant. You get there and it's smaller. You go, but you're right. When it's in front of you, that's the best thing I ever heard. If you're wondering, it's not.
It's the same.
That simple.
It's literally the same with whitetails, right? If you're questioning, God, do you think that's a shooter? It's probably not a shooter, right? Once in a while somebody makes a mistake. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't hunt Texas that much. We had a big mature deer come in. He wasn't going to score very well. He's probably 130 some inch deer. Well, yeah, that was one of the target bucks, but it's just because I wasn't used to the body size of a Texas whitetail when you hunt the Midwest, right? I mean, they're 100-pound deer. 100-pounder is a big one, where ours are pushing 200. The rack looked big, and I thought it did for Texas, but whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
win some, lose some. So as a new hunter, well, and I'm
Yeah.
going to set out a bait. What kind of area should I look for to bait a bear in? Thick,
Uh,
open. What do you want?
well, you're gonna have it's a good compromise, is what I'm gonna say, because they want to stay in the thick, but they also want to walk free, just like a whitetail, right? They don't want to take these. They're not going to walk through a bunch of pricker bushes to get to your donuts, right? They're going to
Yeah.
find a way in. So, but they want it to be dark. That's probably the biggest thing, right? They don't like to step out in the open. Nobody puts a bait in the middle of a field. That would be great, just would never work, right? They'd
Yeah.
only come in at night.
Yeah.
So thick, but open enough that, you can get 20 yards away, find that like perfect spot. And if places are overrun, it almost doesn't matter. But unfortunately, in the United States, bear hunting's become such a big thing. In Maine, if you go to Bingham up north, there's a bear bait every half a mile, right?
Really?
Because it's a public land everywhere.
Yeah.
So you're just looking for a place there isn't a bait 50 yards down the road. So these bears are getting more and more educated, smarter and smarter and smarter. They're starting to act. If you're from Illinois, I apologize, but they're starting to act like Illinois whitetail. They walk around looking in trees, right? Because they're so.
How do you combat that? I mean, as a hunter, what do you do to make your area special?
Well, for us, it's basically outbaiting your neighbor.
Okay.
Right. So the bears are there. So your two goals is to have multiple bears, to have like a half a dozen bears. So they have to get there early and earlier to beat the next bear, because they know every bear that's showing up individually.
Yeah.
Right. So if there's 5 bears there, bear number 6 knows 5 bears beat him there.
Sure.
So he shows up an hour early. Now there's only 3, and he shows up an hour earlier. So that's your goal. But then also, if you have people baiting around you, you have literally got to outbait them. And unfortunately, most of the time that comes down to money. Donuts, well, I'm gonna say almost, because I haven't tried everything. But if you use Krispy Kreme or Dunkin' Donuts, and that guy's using granola, this guy's using jelly beans, this guy's using peanut butter, this guy's using chocolate, you will outbait those guys.
Really?
You'll have every bear fighting over your bait. They love donuts.
Okay, give me a preference. So donuts are number 1. What's the next best bait?
Next best bait, I'm gonna go with. I don't want to say this, but just watching it with my own eyes, is if you can get to a butcher and get the bones that they throw away.
Yeah.
After they're done making steaks from cows and everything else, those things are incredible.
Really?
But I rarely ever advise it, because what they do is they come in, and like I always tell people, wait for their head to be in the bucket, so when you draw, all they can hear is them chomping. They'll grab a bone
and then run,
come out of the bait, run into the woods, eat it, come in and do the same thing. So you start playing this game,
yeah,
rather than them staying there eating.
Yeah.
So, but that's been the second best that I've seen, when you can hook up with a butcher and just say, hey, fill 55-gallon drums for me. And a lot of times that ends up being cheap. And so all the guides start wanting it. And then all of a sudden he goes, hey, I get $100 a barrel. I'm going to charge $100 a barrel. So
yeah, interesting. When we were up in Canada, the outfitter was using, somehow he got candy, like a bunch of candy. And it was so interesting to see over a course of a week. There was one female bear that came in, and she liked like these red jawbreakers, and she would come in there and literally paw through the candy and just rather than you'd think they'd just gobble it all down. No, she was really particular what she liked. And then there was another younger bear that literally, when he had popcorn in there, it would just lay and just scoop it in, like not even get up, just scoop it in. Yeah, exactly. just moan it in, and it was so cool to watch.
Deer Talk Now is brought to you by Outdoor Edge and their new Ergomax 6-piece professional grade processing knife set. Take your wild game processing to the next level with this top-tier set, which includes 5 expertly designed knives tailored for every task. Plus, the included 2-stage sharpener ensures your blades stay incredibly sharp no matter the job. For more information, go to OutdoorEdge.com.
I want to talk about the one thing that amazed me, right, as a whitetail hunter, how quietly a bear can show up. Literally, like you're staring at the same spot, and all of a sudden you're like, there's a bear. Where'd that thing come from? Because you never hear them. Like at
I
least I did. I
know.
was like, oh my God. So
Yeah, they're very particular on making their trails. They rarely ever want to get off that trail. So, especially by the time you hunt one, if you have like in Maine, we got 30 days to bait. So they're
okay,
going to make their trails coming in. But even when they're not on bait, even when they're they love brooks and rivers, great place to set baits, right? 20 yards from a brook, wherever it's legal.
sure.
They love to walk those because they don't like the noise. And so much so is that if you talk to a trapper, they'll tell you how to trap a bear with a snare, and that's to put a bunch of twigs on the ground with only one spot that's clear.
Oh, no
A
way.
bear will step there 100% of the time. He will never step on a twig.
Really?
So if you can find a bear trail, you put twigs on the ground, and when he walks up, he'll go boom, and boom, it'll get him. A trapper will tell you that. 100% will tell you that's how they get bears. They put twigs on the ground with only one spot this big, without twigs, and a bear will step right there.
Which makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. So
It's
yeah, they.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, some of us whitetail guys are a little over the top, like when the leaves are falling, because I hate making that much noise, right? When you're walking in, all you hear is so we'll go down there during the midday with a leaf blower and blow a trail like to some of our tree stands, so there's nothing in the morning that they can hear when you walk in. And I know you can do the same thing with a rake, but you can use now the leaf blower during midday and blow out your spots. I bet you could do that for bears. Give them a nice clean trail coming in and out, and kind of get that bear using that one spot, right? I mean, I bet you it'll work.
100%. 100%. Yep.
Now you said you want to always find a spot with multiple bears. Is that just for more viewing, or is just to increase your odds, or because as a hunter, I just want the one big one, right? So is it more that community, like a bear feels comfortable when other bears are there, or what's the situation with that?
No, that more or less, because it is a problem. If you're looking for that one bear, a lot of times that's the bear coming.
Okay.
Right. That's the bear you're hunting.
Yeah.
You're there for the one day he'll make a mistake.
Yeah.
Right. And show up 15 minutes before the shooting light's over. But if another bear gets introduced into that area, naturally, obviously, he doesn't like the fact that another bear's eating his food.
So he might
he starts earlier. He's coming in earlier. So the more bears you have, the earlier bears are going to come. So it's yes, in both cases, you're going to see a lot more bears because they're all beating each other there.
Interesting.
And then, because I tell everybody, they come back, I saw 4 or 5 bears, but the biggest one was 150 pounds. I go, wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
When the 300-pounder didn't get any food.
Yeah.
Right. Because he didn't make it. And sure enough, they'll come back. He's like, he was there at 5. I'm like, I told you. Like, they have to beat each other there just to eat. And they don't like to move when they feel safe.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
So that's why, like up in Canada, because that's where we've hunted up in Saskatchewan, once they know a big bear's at that bait, he's going to keep putting you in there, the outfitter is, because sooner or later he's going to say that boar is going to screw up. And it can be some long hours. Our camera producer was there last year and ended up shooting a great bear, but literally, I mean, he was not seeing anything. And meanwhile, I'm in another stand, probably, I don't know, a couple miles away. I'm seeing bear after bear after bear. I mean, I'm seeing 7-10 bears a day, right? And he's going there and sitting all day and seeing nothing or one. and the funny part was, he was going to shoot a smaller bear that came in, and literally started pulling back his bow. And what shows up? The giant one scares the other bear away as he's got his bow basically in there, and he drills the big one, and they got the bear. Meanwhile, I'm sitting where all the bears are, and I never had a shooter come in. So, I mean, it's kind of like the luck of the draw.
That's another good point on even a first-time bear hunter. If you can tolerate it, don't ever move. Like, if you got a good guide, because for 2 reasons. I'll just give the one big reason is you went in there on the first day, never saw that bear. Second day, never saw that bear. Third day, never saw that bear. Remember, you're trying to get that bear, but that bear's starting to associate your scent with the food.
Yes.
So the longer that process can take, don't ever let a guide trick you. I'll go sit on your bait tonight. We'll see what happens. No. That big bear, every bear knows that's the scent that feeds them.
Oh.
Right? So the bear comes right in and goes, I told you there was a big bear there. That's just a trick. And
Okay.
I guided for 12 years, so
So
I'm
you
very aware
know,
of the terrain.
yeah.
I'm
No,
fully aware. I can sit anywhere. If I'm the guy baiting, I can sit anywhere on any night. Never take me longer than 2 days to kill the bear I want to kill.
really.
Right. So when you're there as a hunter in Saskatchewan, New Brunswick, Ontario, wherever, you want to try not to move. It feels awful good to move on Wednesday or Thursday because you're so sick of seeing nothing. But this year when I shot my bear, perfect example, I went in my bait. Not only did I not see a bear, my bait didn't get hit that night.
Oh wow.
And that people want to run,
Yeah.
right? But I seen the pictures. The next night I shot the bear.
Really.
But obviously something I did or my camera person did, you got two
Yeah.
people, it gets harder. Me or my camera person did ruined it for that
Wow.
night, completely and utterly ruined it. But he showed right up the next day. But yeah, letting that bear, especially the bigger bears, get used to your scent, man. Thursday and Fridays when the magic happens. A
Nice.
lot.
Nice. Yeah, for
Yep.
us, when I shot my big one, we were actually got to spend an extra day because we got rained in. We had taken a, it's kind of a funny story. We took a minivan like a mile and a half into the bush on this little dirt track. Well, and then
Yeah.
it started raining, and it rained continuously all week long. And the funny part of the story is Brad, who has the best rain gear in the world, left all of his rain gear at home. So I was building like little roofs out of garbage bags just to keep the rain off me. And we hunted all day, every single day. And on the last day, we'd seen a lot of bears throughout the hunt, and all the other guys that were in camp could leave. They all had four-wheel drives, and the outfitter, Riley, from Saskatchewan Big Buck Adventures goes, "Hey, guys, you're not getting that minivan out till maybe tomorrow. You want to hunt an extra day?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure." So he puts us back in, and we both have opportunities to shoot giant bears that night. But had the weather been decent, I would have called it in because I was so sick. Those are long days in the spring, and you
Long
know this.
days.
Oh my! You get in there when it's dark and you hunt till it's black at 9 o'clock at night. It is a long, long day. So
Your thermocell runs out
Oh.
halfway through.
mosquitoes are brutal, right? Yeah. And they're all booners. That's one thing I will say about Canada. When you see a mosquito, he is a big mosquito. So
It is no joke. No joke.
yeah, definitely that is the case. So for baits, you already said try to find that secluded kind of covered area that's open
Yeah.
but still has enough cover. We're going to use donuts if we can, right? A preferred.
Yeah.
Are you running trail cameras then to judge how many bears are in there, or what are you using? Just
Yeah, for sure. We do 100%. But and those are only so good, right? You get into the middle of June and those bears are in the rut. It is just like whitetail.
yeah,
You start hunting sows. Doesn't matter where you see a bear because he could be literally 20, 30 miles away
yeah,
the next day.
because they travel
because
that far.
Yeah, he's there. The cool thing is they're visiting sites, right? They're visiting bait sites. But if you're bow hunting, it becomes difficult because they rarely ever eat, just like a buck.
Yep.
So they just come in, they scent check, and then they just keep walking.
Yeah.
So I tell everybody, like, first week of June and beyond, like, if you see a big boy come out, he's walking to the bait,
Better
and
shoot
he
'em.
doesn't knock, shoot him before he leaves. It's the last
Yeah.
time you're going to see him,
Yeah.
like the whole trip.
So
So
let's talk about shot
ahead.
placement a little bit. So, like everybody, the one thing you hear with archery gear, and I don't know if you're a believer, middle of the middle. Is that true or is that not true?
Well, the middle of the middle, if it's explained correctly.
Okay, go ahead.
So,
Explain it to us.
Especially on spring bears. So middle of the middle, this includes the nose. And I think people get confused that we're talking about the body. It's not the middle of the body, because that is way too close to the back of the lungs and the guts and the diaphragm. Like,
Yeah.
there's no room for error. So the middle of the nose is almost always 6 to 8 inches behind the shoulder, right?
Okay.
But I hate saying behind the shoulder, especially if you're hunting big bears, because let's just say legal shooting time is 9 p.m. You're probably not going to see your bear till 8:50,
Yeah, exactly.
and at that point, you're shooting at a shadow.
Yeah.
You do not know where that shoulder is. It's black on black, and you're at full draw looking through a peep, losing even more light. And with a gun, sometimes you can, if you got the illumination of the scope. So that's why I like middle of the middle, but just if people would just say from the nose to the tail, and that's on the front part of the body.
Yeah.
It's not the middle of the body. And so many people come back, go, I shot the middle of the middle and I never found my bear. And then I go, middle of what? And they always go, the body. And I go, no. Got to add the head. So add that much half distance forward. So, and then people say it's too high. It's especially on a spring bear, it's not, because there's a chance there could be this much hair hanging from the belly.
Yeah.
So even if you're in the middle of the torso, you're still low.
Yeah.
Right? You're still in that bottom half. You just don't think you are, because I don't know how many whitetail hunters leave the woods and go, it was a perfect shot.
Yeah.
Perfect for a whitetail.
Yeah.
But you just gave that bear a haircut.
Yeah.
Right? That's all you did. So, yeah, I'm a believer in middle of the middle as long as it comes with from the nose to the tail.
Okay.
Right? So the middle of the body is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Right? If you shoot a little bit, if he's faced that way, shoot a little bit left, you're going to get him. But it's going to be a far back shot.
Yeah.
Middle of the middle with the nose, I think, is spot on. I could even send it to you, but I got a picture that I did as anatomically correct as I could get it of the insides of a bear. And actually, you've probably seen it. It's been all over the internet. And then if you draw a line, you'll go 6 inches behind the shoulder.
So almost like a liver shot on a whitetail, right? I mean, right between the back of the lungs, liver, kind of.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
So me as a whitetail guy, on my big bear, I couldn't come to shoot it dead center in the middle, after everything. So I was like, I'm going to shoot him right where that liver is, and that's where I shot mine. I am going to ask you another question, because mine, you always hear that they do the death moan. Mine did not. So I mean, because everything I read, everything I heard, you hear this loud. And my bear, I thought it was a good shot, and he took off, and I'm shooting it with a big expandable, right? And I never heard it. And then you start second guessing yourself. God, was it as good as I thought? Was this happen? And us on the video side, we're lucky, right? Because you can just rewind and watch where the lighted knot goes through the animal. But a lot of guys don't have that. So is the death moan more frequent, or don't they do it as much, or where does that come?
I'm going to say actually less frequent. I don't even think you got a 50-50 chance of hearing a death moan. If you were to take the 90 some odd bears that I've harvested over the years, I'm going to say maybe 20 or 30. I could hear it. Personally, I have a love-hate relationship with the death moan. There's a 0% chance you didn't get that bear when you hear a death moan.
Okay.
He's dead wherever you hear it. Period. He's not going to make the noise without it. What I don't like about it, and I think it's part of being a Yankee up here in the north, is the actual sound.
Yeah.
It's very, and even though I know that's not pain, I've been, I always say I'm not really the bear whisperer, but I'm smart enough to hang out with the bear whisperers.
Sure.
But these biologists explain that moan as a frustration. It's not pain. It's I want to run and I can't.
Oh,
and
interesting.
It's like, I can't make, this is the noise I'm making because I'm just pure frustration.
Frustrated. Interesting.
That I'm dying right here. They don't know they're dying, obviously, but they're just making a noise of frustration, which makes me feel better, certainly.
Yeah, exactly. You never want to see someone suffer, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they're running, like the bear I shot this year, if he's running and he dies on his feet, you're never going to hear that death moan. Yeah. Right. He's never makes that noise running. He makes that noise after he falls down and he
can't
just
get back
hasn't expired yet. He can't get back up, and that's it. So most of the time they die full out.
Okay.
Right. Like usually when you find them, you can almost see their paws like this.
That's
like
how mine was. That's how mine was. Exactly.
They were going to take their next step and they just fell, and that was it. So they usually, and that's why if you get the right type of bear, I don't even want to say the right type of broadhead or the right type of anything, but you get the right type of bear, you go find them, you double lung them, and he's still 500 yards away. Yeah. Right. Because they're just full out, dead through the woods, so yeah.
And they can haul. What kind of equipment would you recommend? What kind of broadhead? If I'm a bow hunter, what would you recommend?
I'm going to say a Zeus broadhead without a doubt, either an Apollo. They make a broadhead called an Apollo broadhead. The Zeus, which is a company, but they also make a Zeus broadhead. But bare bones are insanely tough. So if you do make a mistake, that broadhead is a fixed blade, which I'm a fan of. It's a
Yep.
fixed blade unless it hits bone. When it hits bone, the blades collapse. When it gets through the bone, they immediately open back up and finish the journey. So the one thing you want with a bear, I don't care if you hit bone or you want your arrow on the other side of it. You want him leaking out of two holes because, especially in the springtime, because that first soaks the blood up.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know how many times it's going to take you 30, 40 yards to find your first drop of blood so you want them leaking out two sides. And I've just never shot anything as accurate and penetrates like a Zeus. The Zeus is just off the charts penetration.
Nice.
Yep.
The other thing is, like you said, 40 yards to find the first drop, and probably another 60 or 70, maybe even 100 before it really starts coming out of them. I mean, like I told you, everything I read, was a death moan. You're going to hear it. I didn't hear that. We go to where my arrow is, and it's covered with blood, but then we find no blood till about 30, 40 yards later, one little speck. I'm like, God, did I hit him as good as I thought? You know what I mean? Like you just start second guessing yourself. So
absolutely.
I want to talk one more thing. Like for me, shooting a big bear is great, right? But some of the interactions you have, the scaredest I think I ever was there's a big female that has 3 cubs, and one of the cubs started coming up my tree, and I mean he's a little guy, and I'm in when I say I'm in a ladder stand, I'm 8 feet off the ground. I mean, like that bear could have just took one swat, and I've been laying down next to her. I kind of freaked out. I literally took a Gatorade out of my backpack and I dropped it right on its head. It hit him on the noggin, and he saw the red Gatorade rolling on the ground, and he went over there and he grabbed it, and then he went back by his little 2 other cub buddies to show him the cool little treat that he found. But other than that, I mean, it was kind of scary. Like for me, I haven't been bear hunting. So is there a time that hunters should be worried about anything or not?
I don't. I tell everybody I'm way, and it may be because I'm used to them, and I've been to the bear dens with the biologists. Maine probably has the best bear program in the world right now with their bear biologists and stuff. And just hanging out with them, that's probably where I've learned everything from those guys. That's most fascinating things about bears. But being scared, so I've been attacked 4 times. I've been actually physically attacked
really?
4 times, jumped on. But they all have one thing in common. They either had a broadhead or a bullet in it.
Okay.
Right. And I was looking for it. So, so typically these things, I mean, they're non-tolerant. They are going to run almost 100% of the time. It's the only time most people get into trouble, even like when you hear about the rare surveyor or whatever, it's because it's let's say a high traffic moose area, and they thought a moose was coming through. No one ran, and you literally walked into a blueberry patch with 2 cubs at your feet.
Yeah. And
mom's there at 20 yards. That's when you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
But black bears typically don't want to eat you. So, they're carnivores, but they typically don't want it. They eat meat, but they're not out looking to humans to eat. But there is, as Randy Cross, the Maine bear biologist, but there's just also some El Diablo bears.
Sure.
Just unpredictable. They just want to attack everything they see. They usually don't last long. Honestly, because they're not afraid of humans. It means they're going to get shot quicker, so on and so. But even when you go to a den, you can pull out an 80-pound 2-year-old that will kill you.
Yeah.
Like very literally. You don't have any strength compared to this guy, no matter how big you are. And they're just he calls them El Diablo bears. They're just the human beings, same thing, right? Just some with just born with a bad attitude. And they want to punch everybody they see. Yeah. So there's bears that have that same attitude that you wouldn't believe. These little, we call them cat cubs, the little guys, and we'll tranquilize the sow and reach in and grab one, and they're going and they got full-size claws, and they are trying to take the skin off you.
I believe that.
Just most of them curl up in your jackets. Those are all the pictures you see, right?
Yeah.
Just cute. And most of them are like that, but some of them, you got to hold them out here and
full on going after you.
Yeah.
The other thing that I saw that I wasn't really prepared for I think it was last year, I had a younger male, and he was trying to be the dominant one there, right? And he knew I was in the tree. And I really wasn't paying attention to him because there's another. I saw a little bit black in the background. I was like, oh, this is going to be the big one. And he came in there and like, it must have been like a show of dominance. He basically took his paw and just slammed on this log and made such a loud noise. I literally jumped. Not that I was scared of him. I was shocked that he did that. And then he looked at me. And then he just turned around and went back to the bait pile. And I was like, oh, I'm sure he was just saying, hey, I know you're here. Just leave me alone, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what it's kind of kin to, like, you're there. And then on the show, I've talked about no trespassing signs where they literally scale, they sit on their back feet and they get up in a tree and they'll just scratch it and bite it and scratch it and bite it. And it's just letting every other bear know how big they are. This is my food. If you come here, this is what you got to deal with.
Yeah, exactly.
So when and those bears, exactly right. Like they, kind of like the false charge.
Yeah.
Same type of deal. Like, boom. My old intro, if you look, we had probably a 2-year-old male up in a tree, and he's doing this and he's doing that. Next thing you know, it's like, bam. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And you realize since how hard they can hit.
Yeah, exactly. When you hear that, it was like, holy crap, that thing made a lot of noise.
Right. So all he was doing is establishing his dominance over you. Same way dogs do it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I figured
you're
it was.
allowed to be here, but I'm the man. Don't come down.
Yeah. That's what I absolutely figured it was. The coolest thing on last year's hunt, they had a local trapper, right? And he caught a fresh beaver, and they were using that for bait. Dude, that was like candy. Like, I've never seen bears go nuts. The first one that came to it was too small to pull it out of the barrel, like, because it was stuck in there. They wedged it in there pretty good. And then the next one came out, and he could get the tail out, but he couldn't really get it. The third one was probably like a 2-year-old male or something, maybe even a little older than that. He literally grabbed that tail and started swinging. That barrel was doing like semicircles up in the air, and finally he ripped it out. And then he did just like you're talking. He grabbed that thing and literally just hauled butt out of there. I never saw that bear again. Like, he was eating that beaver all to himself, right? Yeah. So, but it is absolutely cool to see. Any other tips for the guys that are bear hunting for the first time?
I would just say, remember this, and this is the truth that you'll never know. You'll never prove to yourself. When you see that bear, he's seen you 30 minutes ago. So if you're sitting there swatting at mosquitoes, looking at every squirrel noise, which, everybody does, but man, the more you cannot move, the better you are, because he's watching you. He's just making a decision whether it's worth it
to come
right?
in or
if
not.
I'm going to come in there. They almost always bed about within 200 yards of the bait you're sitting on. So walk in quiet, leave quiet. Don't let your buddy talk to you on the side of the road for 100 years. I actually like to walk out of my bait and walk 300 yards up the road and let the guy pick me up there.
Okay.
In case I got a guy that's loud, another hunter in the truck, and
which makes
be as
sense.
loud as you want. Yeah. But just know that bear is looking at you, especially that last 30 minutes, that magic time, when the big bears are going to come. Like, just know they have already seen you, and if you keep that in your mind, you'll act right on the stand, right? Because that's the moment we all want to get on our cell phones. We've had it, especially me, ADD. I want to eat my Snickers bar now. That just, man, sit there as still and quiet as you can, and don't be stressed.
Yeah, exactly. Relax a little bit. Even if you see a younger one come up, they're scared of you, right? I've already had them. One was coming up the tree, started to come up, and I kind of flinched quickly. But with me flinching quickly, man, it's turned him inside out. He just went rolling out of there. And then I'm like, God, I should have let him crawl up the tree. That would have been better video. But, for me, I just didn't think about it till that first time. So I'm a newbie to bears, learning a little bit. I've only went on 3 hunts, so it's all new to me. But it's been great information, Blaine. I thank you for joining us on Deer Talk Now. I'm Brad Rooks. This was Blaine Anthony. Everything you wanted to know for bears was met from the expert. Thank you for joining us. Join us next week.
The Deer Talk Now podcast is brought to you by Mossberg, Wildlife Research Center, Traditions Firearms, Outdoor Edge Knives, Hoyt Archery, and 10 Point Crossbows.